Passenger Seat podcast, a podcast designed to fill your passenger seat with chat about classic cars, all recorded from my 1968 Morris Minor Peggy. I'm Becca, and today I'm on my way home from a car meet over in St Ives, a couple of kind of little towns over from myself, that was hosted by Lancaster Insurance in their car park on behalf of kind of Practical Classics, and I'm going to tell you all about that in today's episode. So it must have been about a month or so ago, Steph, who you might know from My Driver Classic, whose professional job is working for Lancaster Insurance, messaged me and said, I think this is pretty close to you, hopefully you and Peggy can get yourselves along to it. And it was a little meet that was being held in the Lancaster Insurance car park in St Ives, and the Practical Classics gang were going to be there, and it is part of kind of a run-up to the NEC run of events that they are doing to kind of raise the profile of their little Reliant that they've done up and are going to be auctioning off at the Practical Classics Restoration Show in March. So my dad and my sister had actually attended a couple of the runs that they'd done last year, kind of end of last year. They had actually done one from the Practical Classics car park. So my dad and my sister had actually seen the car and things before and gone out on one of these little events that they've been putting on. And then I'd seen it doing a few bits and pieces at the NEC in November. So the car's really been getting around, been getting a lot of work done to it, and it's been painted in a lovely NHS blue and is being auctioned off with the money going to NHS charities. And today's car meet was kind of free to come along, but they'd quite like if people made a little donation as a thank you for the tea and the coffee and the good times. So really local to me, and also quite an early start in the morning, which meant that I'd have the rest of the day kind of to myself, which is, as I've said before, is a great appeal of a lot of these meets. A little breakfast get together, and then some of the guys from the meet were actually going out on a run with the Reliant, and I could kind of go about the rest of my day. So it's a great bonus of these sorts of things. So all in all, I think it took me maybe 25 minutes this morning to head over that way. Not too long at all things considered, and it was quite a nice run. Jamie was leaving at the same time to head off somewhere else, so we followed each other a little bit of the way, and then I peeled off to head off to St Ives. So got over there. I was pretty early. There were some people who got there earlier, and people that actually somehow managed to live a little closer than me, which was quite surprising. Got myself all parked up and went and grabbed my cup of tea and my croissant that was kindly provided, and then got chatting. It was really lovely that despite kind of it being in my neck of the woods, there was quite a lot of familiar places. Obviously Steph was there as part of her job with Lancaster, and it was great to catch up with her, but also David, who I met at the motorist run that I did last April or May, I can't remember when it was now, was there in his little Monty, the MG. Then Matt from Furious Driving turned up in his Rover, and he'd come quite a way from over in Kent, and Sean from Morsels and Motors, or Also Driven, whichever channel you see him over on, had come across, because he's quite local as well. He'd come across in his beautiful yellow Vauxhall. And of course there was loads more cars as well. Another familiar face, I guess, is my parents, who had popped along in Lulu the Chamois this time. Last time that they'd come to this event kind of thing at Lancaster, they'd come in Emma the 1931 singer junior, but they decided to give Lulu a run out today, and she got quite a few comments, and they actually ended up parked next to a car that some of you might recognise from Furious Driving's channel, the Mondeo, or the Ford Mondeo that Matt did up, was parked next to them. And if you picked up in the video, he actually owns quite a few imps, the man who got the mouldy Mondeo off of Matt, and so they had a great time kind of catching up and comparing notes on their various Hillman imps and variants over the years. The variety of cars, as is always the case with the good meat, was fantastic, but there was an exceptional number of Reliants, and that was down to the fact that the Reliant Club have been heavily involved in helping the restoration side of things with Practical Classics Reliant, and so the run that they were doing afterwards was primarily for the Reliant Owners Club as a kind of thank you, but a few other people were able to tag along if they wanted as well. And so there was quite a nice selection of Reliants in all shapes and forms and in all numbers of wheels that were available. So that was really nice to see. And there was a gorgeous 2CV as well. And the guy who owned that had been speaking to us about his ongoing restoration of the seats. And it was quite interesting to see when I went over to have a look at his 2CV afterwards, the really lovely restored seat cover all replaced and stuff like that, a passenger seat of his 2CV next to the next seats to kind of be done up. And it was interesting kind of how long it had taken him, but it looked really fantastic, and it's clearly going to be a worthwhile investment of time. After a little while chatting with various people, I was accosted by Danny Hopkins, the editor of Practical Classics, as he was going around interviewing all of the people that had got their cars there, talking to them about their cars and making sure that they had a nice photo of everyone with their car. So I was interviewed, and then he interviewed my dad about Lulu. So that was really nice to kind of get to share some of Peggy's story with some more people. And then once all the interviews had been done for Practical Classics, we all gathered round the lovely blue Reliant and had a kind of group photo with everyone who had turned up. Last scramble for cups of teas and coffee and croissants before things gradually started to wrap up, and the cars that were going out on the run started to get ready to head off, and they were going off towards the old hospital in Patworth Everard, and then moving all the way out to a few other places and some more hospitals and things in the area, before kind of making their way back, and the little Reliant heading its way back to the Practical Classics offices up in Peterborough way. But yeah, a really nice start to the morning, and not a bad way to start a day, going for a really nice run in the car. The weather's held off, which is brilliant, and having a chat and getting to know a few people, and hopefully doing a little bit of good for charity as well. It's hopefully going to raise the profile of that lovely little car and help raise some money when it goes up for auction at the NEC. So just a short little one today on the meet. I hope you've enjoyed kind of hearing about it if you didn't know that the event was going on. I'm thinking that they might be looking into doing a couple more of these sorts of meets, but hopefully they'll be kind of more weekendy and perhaps a little less early if it's on weekends, to help with getting a bit more people there, although to be fair, 20 cars or so that were there is quite a good turnout for a weekday morning. But in the meantime, drive safely and happy motoring.